of the police force, which was located at Harman Barracks. Guns barked across the city today, as they did yesterday, as an all-out war between state forces and the lawless played out on the streets of Kingston. We also heard of reports of shootings in Spanish Town as well, and reports there mirroring pretty much what we heard yesterday. Preparing now for a report on this issue. I'm not clear whether it's ready.
Never before has there been such an all-out attack on police stations across Kingston. Days ago, criminals set fire to the Hannahtown station. They struck again last night. This time, the Darling Street police station was their target. The blaze did extensive damage to the entire building. And still in the corporate area, the Kingston Central Police had a hard time warding off men from the surrounding communities. In the midst of it all, the police had to be careful not to shoot bystanders who continue to defy orders to stay off the streets. A contingent of soldiers passing through the area at one point provided temporary support for the police officers. It was tough maintaining law and order for a couple of hours, but the police stood their ground and ensured they weren't surprised by gunmen disguised as passengers. They picked up a man of interest during a search of this bus. Every unmarked car passing by the station was a potential threat to the police until they could verify its occupants. The police were intent on occupying the entire East Queen Street, even if it meant calling for backup. There is no concrete evidence to suggest that the attacks on police stations are coordinated. But while the Kingston Central Police were busy warding off gunmen, their colleagues were also busy trying to find men who had attacked their K9 division at Harman Barracks. The police followed strict orders to search all emergency vehicles. An elderly man on a bicycle was arrested for carrying an M16 round concealed in a glasses case. Deeper in the downtown business district, soldiers ruled the streets. Their numbers grew as you got closer to Tivoli Gardens. They monitored every corner. This mentally ill man failed to get their attention. Broken stalls littered Darling Street and the surrounding area. Soldiers strategically placed on buildings in Tivoli Gardens overlooking the area. Sandbags put in place to offer guard against enemy fire. The media was not allowed anywhere near the entrance to the Tivoli Gardens community. Thugs had to beat a hasty retreat when police arrived along Slipen Road near Torrington Bridge, where a roadblock was mounted.
And we were at the Kingston Public Hospital as some of the bodies were brought in. An overburdened KPH staff dealt with the war scenes even as gunshots rang out around them. Nadine MacLeod was there.
Parliament was our destination, but getting there would prove impossible. As gunfire rang out and we had to reverse from street after street, we eventually took cover at KPH. We have been trying to get to Parliament for over an hour now, but each time we leave here at KPH, we hear heavy gunfire. So we are back. We're basically trapped. Now, the police have just brought in a number of people who were killed. They were all pronounced dead. We counted 12. We have no idea where they were killed. The officers weren't speaking about it. Before them, this little boy was taken in by the police. He had been shot too. This man had to walk to the hospital with an injured arm. We are still not sure where he was shot or by whom. We have also been receiving photographs of dead bodies, reportedly of casualties in Tivoli. Nadine McLeod, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Spanish Town is becoming a real security nightmare this evening. 19 people have been killed there over the last 2 days. Other reports suggest 21. Gunmen in Spanish Town appear to be on a bloody rampage, attacking residents as well as the police. Latoya Spence reports.
Though no state of emergency has been declared for Spanish Town, the killings over the last few hours would suggest there is also a war in the old capital. The first spate of killings began yesterday in a residential section of Spanish Town called Crescent, where gunmen barged into homes shooting 9 people. 4 were killed. Then there were 2 killings in Central Village. The onslaught continued into the night when gunmen made their way to another community called Monkeytown and snuffed out the lives of 3 others. Its streets were then blocked and set on fire. Monkeytown is across the street from the better-known De La Vega City neighborhood. A 7-year-old boy was among the victims. He was mercilessly shot in the head. Today, it became even more difficult to keep up with the body count, as our news team was called to scene after scene, the killings mere minutes apart. As the sun came up, so did news that 5 people had been killed on Marchpen Road. They were cut down before dawn. Gunmen had gone from door to door, deciding who should live and who should die. Among those, they played God with a 7-month-old baby. The baby boy was killed along with 4 men. Houses were set on fire. Neighbors tried to get involved. They were punished with gunfire. A police team responded. They too were engaged in a fierce gun battle. One of the alleged gunmen was shot and killed, and 2 firearms seized. The others apparently escaped. But this did not stop the attacks. We understand that the gunmen returned and proceeded to torch a total of 10 houses. The police also returned for a second gun battle. That one lasted well into the morning. As gunshots punctuated the air, stubborn residents who had braved the streets hurried for cover. Not even the presence of several media personnel in the community was enough to hold off the gunfire. We're here at the entrance of Marchpen Road, and the tension seems to be rising by the minute. The law enforcers have gone in with the intention of trying to quell what is happening in the area, but every effort is met by sporadic gunfire from the gunmen. The officers fought feverishly to get the situation under control, and sometime after 11 o'clock, there was some semblance of order in the area. But before it got to midday, another 3 lay dead on Matukspen Road. Gunmen coming from the direction of Spanish Town drove into the area, opening fire wantonly on men who were buying and playing dominoes at a bar. When the hail of bullets ended, 39-year-old security guard Peter McBean, 23-year-old Tyler Dwayne Murray, and a 26-year-old Robert Sankey lay dead. A 14-year-old student of Cumberland High was shot and injured. He was taken to hospital, but his condition is still not known. The residents say the men also opened fire on persons who were conducting business in the post office nearby. The bar's owner shared her ordeal.
I was in the shop and I hear a barrage of shots outside, so I have to run for my life, and when I come back I find 3 somebody on the floor.
Overcome by grief, Matukspen residents, dazed and teary, expressed shock and concern about the apparent invasion of their community. But our news team couldn't tarry. Another call about a body on the ground, this time in Waterford, Portmore. We learned that before him, 3 others had been cut down. This afternoon, the extent of the situation apparent, South Central St. Catherine Member of Parliament Sharon Hay Webster pressed the Prime Minister on whether the state of emergency will be extended to St. Catherine.
I take note of the events that you have referred to. It is a matter naturally that we would have to consult with the security forces about, not only in terms of the need, but also in terms of the capacity to maintain the kind of intensity that would be required in an area that is subject to emergency powers. But I certainly will undertake to consult.
Latoya Spence, TVJ News.
And back in Kingston, the head of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, Dr. Shane Alexis, is expressing concern for the safety of all medical practitioners who have to move to and from hospitals during the unrest. In the midst of the heavy gunfire downtown today, our news team caught a glimpse of what the doctors are referring to. Nadine McLeod has more.
Meters away from downtown Kingston, our news team spotted female hospital workers walking from the Kingston Public